Congratulations on the show.
Thank you.
I absolutely loved it.
Awesome.
Andy obviously doesn't have the best time in Bidgod, but did you have a good time in Australia?
I had an amazing time. I did. It was different. I mean, it's when I went back to the States and said that I was in Australia, everyone's like, "Oh, did you go to Tasmania? How was Sydney? Did you get to did you make it to Melbourne?" And it's like, no, I was in a tiny town in the northwest, multiple airplanes away from anywhere that you've ever heard of.
Yeah, very, very remote. What did you think of Derby?
I loved it. It took some getting used to. I am a city person through and through, but it was exactly the place that we needed to be to tell the story, and the people were great. If I were a Derby person, I would be like, who are these Hollywoody, obnoxious people coming in and taking over our town? And they were exactly the opposite of that. They were happy to have us, and it was a great town.
It's so good. Did you know much about the story of Larimer before you signed on?
I had read, there was a New York Times article that I read right off the bat in the beginning. And so the documentary came out after we had already wrapped and all gone home. So I learned obviously a lot more when I watched that. But yeah. I mean, there's that story, and then there's our story, which are very, very different things. So it's nice that they can both exist in completely different ways in today's media landscape.
Totally. If people like that, then this is pretty amazing.
Yes. And one is a completely fictionalized story with completely different characters, and one is an inspiration, really, is what it was.
Totally. I also really loved your Aussie accent. I found a shovel. Can you do much?
No, my
else?
wife's gonna kill me. My wife hates it when I do I was doing it in the airport. Like, we landed and I was like, "How you going, mate?" And my wife was like, "Stop it. They hate it when you do that, and it sounds dumb here." And she's right. I go back home and I'm a hero. Everybody thinks I have the greatest Australian accent in the world.
I think it does sound good.
Yeah.
Did you pick up any other Aussieisms during your time here?
Oh, so many different things. I had to iron them out of my lexicon when I came home.
What?
I tried to bring reckon back. I was just talking about this earlier. Like, because reckon is like a word that Americans used like 70 years ago. And I love that you guys use it, or just abbreviating things. You know, I'd be like, "Michelle, can you turn the aircon up?" And she's like, "The air conditioning." Everything's abbreviated here. I should start calling Michelle Maz. Was that what she'd be, Maz?
Yeah, Mish.
Ms. Mish.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna start abbreviating all my friends' names.
Give that a go.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how close you actually got to a croc or a snake, but did you have any run-ins with the wildlife?
Yeah, all the time. Crocodile, I never got. Well, I got close to them when we were in like when they were in captivity, and I was on the other side of a fence from dozens and dozens of them. But in real life, I never got further than, I would be on a bridge and it would be down in the water. Snakes I saw, bats. Every kind of bug on Earth. They're all like the size of my head. A lot of cockatoos, which are like beautiful exotic birds that we keep as pets in America, and they're like loud psychos that just follow you around and scream at you. A lot of animals, a lot of wildlife.
Steve and Perry were telling me that you had a frog.
I had a frog. His name was Pico.
Yes.
He lived in my shower, and I would talk to him every day. He was my only friend. Things get really lonely when you're that far away and you're away from your family for that long. And I gave him a whole life and a backstory, and then one day I accidentally stepped on him, which is not my fault. He moved in to an area of the bathroom that he normally wasn't, and I was devastated. But he was fine, and he kind of hobbled away, and then I didn't see. And then he left. He was there every day. I stepped on him. He left, and then about a week before we wrapped, he came back for one day in my shower just to like sort of see me off and let me know that he was okay.
He was like, "I'm good. You didn't break my back.
Go. I send you off as a sheep amongst the wolves. Enjoy your life. Good to know you." Because
Steve and Perry were wondering they wanted you to tell me what had happened, and
they think that some violent, awful thing happened, and the frog. I have to get ready in the morning, and I'm Russian, and it's 6 a.m. And the guy, and I said to the frog, I said to Pico, That's a danger zone, buddy. You can't be there. That's not. You're not supposed to be there. You're always over there. That's where I look for him, and he didn't move.
Well, he's alive. That's what's important.
We think he's alive, and I do think he brought a friend one day, because one day he was in the shower, and then there was a larger frog, and I think it might have been his dad in my sink, and I think the dad was just there to kind of suss out the situation and make sure that his son was in a good place and found a nice human.
Oh, well, I'm glad
Because he looked at me he was skeptical. The daddy frog was skeptical.
He must have given the tick of approval, though, because he kept coming
I
back.
imagine, and then imagine how embarrassed, how mortified Pico was. His dad said, "All right, go ahead, live here with this guy," and then I almost murdered him.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
This show features one of the oddest kissing scenes I've ever seen.
Yep.
And some really cool fight scenes. What were some of the most memorable moments on set for you?
The fight stuff was great. I got to do a lot of physical stuff, and I don't always get to on shows. And it was a lot of work, and it was a lot. I mean, it was a workout and rehearsals, and that stuff to me was really, really cool. Getting bloody and punching and kicking and wrestling and jumping, and it was a lot. It was exhausting, and I'm a 97-year-old man, and just broken in so many different ways. So the fact that I made it through all that was really, I impressed myself. I was really happy with myself.
Well done. What's something when viewers are watching the show that they might be surprised to learn from behind the scenes, like a fun fact or something?
You know, I don't know. I think so much of it is what it's like. Well, the people there were normal, healthy, happy, nice people, and not a bunch of weirdos like we portrayed the town. But I think the town of Derby is actually bigger than what we actually had to erase a lot of it. There's a lot of VFX when you're looking at wide shots. It looks far more remote what we're doing than what was actually there. They would literally have to go in and erase houses and roads and cars and stuff from the image that you were looking at. So I think people would be surprised to see that Derby's actually a pretty nice little town.
I randomly looked you up on TikTok.
Okay.
Did you know that there are many... you have a lot of thirsty fans.
Oh, really?
There. Yeah, there are a lot of edits. Where people are obsessed with you.
That's really funny. I don't go anywhere near TikTok. I'm just old, I think. My wife's on TikTok a lot, but my wife's TikTok is all like really hot young women dancing and Mormons. Like that's my wife's whole TikTok experience.
Well, when she was missing you, she could have gone on TikTok and just looked at these
Yeah,
edits.
the last thing my wife is going to do is look me up on TikTok, that's for sure. But I am going to ask her to do so this afternoon.
And fans also love you and America Ferrera.
Yeah.
Very cool. She had a big moment this week with the Oscars.
She did. She's having a big moment this whole year.
I know. Did you get to chat with her ahead of the awards show?
Yeah, I talked to her. I congratulated her, and we talked about the day. I talked to her the day that she got nominated. And she's just, she's over the moon. And she's got a bunch of other projects coming out too. She's directing something. And I think there's another movie that she just joined on. It's a good time to be America right now.
Absolutely.
The person, not necessarily North.
Yeah, true.
America.
True. And Perry also wanted to know, do you actually like Steve?
Perry is interviewing me through you?
Through me, yes.
Got it. No. The answer is no. Steve Curry? No.
Correct.
No, don't care for him. No. I'm only around him when I'm being paid to do so. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
It's good to talk to you.
Congratulations again on the show.